and PERF was a little more stringent on their requirements. They have allowed them, but as they have retired, they're not adding any more regular part-timers. So overwhelmingly, no part-timers.
There was something about 1,000 hours in there. What was that? I read it, but I kind of forget.
The eligibility, it says you are a full-time employee who occupies a position normally requiring performance of services of at least 1,000 hours per year. Now, if you are employed at a school, and that's a different category, and they have PERF covered positions, they also have TURF covered positions. That would be the teaching area. But if you are in a PERF covered position, that normally requires more than 600 hours per year, but we're not. So that's where that 1,000 hours comes into play. And most of our part-time employees, they are classified part-time to work no more than 28 hours per week. And part of that was put into place back when the Affordable Care Act came into play, when anyone who was working regularly 30 hours or more per week needed to be offered health insurance. So.
Okay. Anything else on that?
That's really it. Yeah.
Unless something changes, I thought that Bridget was coming at 8:45, so we might have to go over this again.
Yeah.
Unless she changed her mind. I don't know, I haven't heard.
Okay. Anything else? Anything for Dottie? I think you're home free.
Back to work on enrollment for the health plan.
Everybody enrolled.
So, yeah. And by the way, I think the meetings all went really well. Employees had good questions. We had very little negativity.
Okay.
So,
I was going to ask.
yeah. So, So I think hopefully this year will be a good year, and we can just continue to build on it. There are still a few more things we need to figure out about a wellness thing going forward. I know that's interestingly, we take a look at employees who are bringing in their forms and they didn't participate, and it's like, well, okay, you just, to each their own, but that was $50 less than they have to pay per pay, so, but
That's
like I said, that was, that everybody has their own reasoning, but.
I would take their $50 if they don't want it,
Right. So anyway, thanks, so reach out if you need anything.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Stay cool. Okay, moving on. Get right down and get to it, payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
I will second that.
My motion is second to approve payroll. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Payroll is approved. Claims.
Would so move we accept the claims as presented.
I'll second for conversation.
I have a question on claims, and that has to do with I believe it's the remodel in the clerk's office. It's Knox Decorative Painting LLC, paint and repair maintenance supplies, $1,329.63. Is that part of that remodel project? Do we know?
I believe so, but let me look it up real quick. Yes, that is the repairs and painting in the small claims offices. Part of it is split with Clerk 40 incentive.
I'm still waiting to see that, to get a look at that contract, and I want to get that contract to Andrew also. I want to make sure everything is in order with that contract. In the meantime, I would like to not approve that particular claim. I don't think we should approve it till we have more information on the contract concerning that remodel project.
I will amend my motion to pay everything except, do you have a certain number? Claim number?
It would just be the Knox claim because there's two different amounts in there.
Two amounts.
I didn't even see the second one.
I'll get you the numbers in a minute here.
Okay.
I cleared out of it.
Two, 22310 009 432.
So the total amount would be $16,629.63 total for the bill.
Excluding those two numbers.
Yep.
I'll second.
And motion is second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the minutes. A chance to look over the minutes?
Yep. So move to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve minutes. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Right on down to miscellaneous topics. Request to use the courthouse rotunda for comprehensive plan open house, September 18th. Hey, what you doing in here?
Causing problems.
Causing problems, yeah. I was hoping that we could use the rotunda for the open house comp plan. It'll be the first unveiling, if you will, of the first draft, kind of the, it's called the Big Ideas Open House is how they explained it to me, tapping into what we've heard over the last few months through public input, public workshops, the online forums that we've had for the rewrite of the comp plan. So it would be for 2 hours. We've not set a time. It would be, you know, during the evening hours that people could be here, or people could come after work, either a 4 to 6, 4:30 to 6:30, 5 to 7, something like that. If you would be open to that, we'd like to get that on our schedules. We are looking in September, so I don't really need an answer today if you guys want to think on it. We had a couple other ideas as well to go, but I thought since it is the county comp plan, if we could use the courthouse, that'd be pretty cool.
What would that involve as far as seating, or is there?
It would be more just open house style, so kind of how we have had the public workshops as well. So there, I mean, we would probably put some seating out there so people could sit if they wanted to, but it wouldn't be like we're having a big presentation or anything like that. It would just be the first floor there as well. You know, the public workshops have garnered, you know, the ones in Butler, you guys were there for, pretty steady flow of people. So I do realize that we've got security and that we'd have to deal with, but you know, I don't know if they would need to go through security.
Did you say what time?
Either it's a 2-hour increment, so either 4 to 6, 4:30. We haven't set a date on time yet, but in the evening-ish hours, like the end of courthouse hours to 7, I would think.
5 to 7 or something.
Yeah, maybe like 5 to 7 would be the latest.
course, it wouldn't be a plan commission that night, obviously.
Right, right, we
They'd
wouldn't,
have to come through security.
okay. So we could just have, I don't want to discourage people from coming because of cell phones, you know what I mean? And I think if they have to go back to their car and put their cell phone away, they're not going to want to come. So I'm wondering if we could can we waive that just for that portion of the time? So people don't have to not bring in their cell phones? Because it's not like it's a public meeting or a public hearing. It's not court, obviously.
Court's not in session.
Right, court wouldn't be in session. Theoretically, I guess it could be if there's some big case
I
coming.
was gonna say, we'd probably just have to make sure there's not like a trial going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, wow, we could,
And I could talk to Sheriff Thomas too, if you want me to,
Yep.
see what he would think about providing. I guess I would need written permission from him to be able to provide the waiver, right? I don't know how that works. If it's-
I'm not sure either, but I
Okay.
would say yes.
Talk to
and
him.
Yes, him and the commissioners.
Okay, okay.
Just cover our bases.
I've not talked to him, so I'll talk to him too
Talk
as
to
well.
him and see what he thinks.
Okay,
about
I think
the cell-
he would just need to give his deputy, like, tonight, this is what's happening,
Yeah.
and they can do X, Y, Z. I don't think there's like anything
Because we do make
formal in
exceptions
writing.
to the cell phone rule, even during hours.
okay.
People come in do a presentation, we do allow them in to bring their cell phones in, so it's
Right.
not out of the question.
Okay.
And I think, personally, I think I'd be okay with it,
Okay,
but
that'd be awesome.
we'll see what the other,
Well, let me talk to Sheriff Thomas and I'll bring it back in a couple weeks.
yeah.
You want to put that back on the miscellaneous topics, Susan and Jody, I'll bring that back. Okay, cool.
We got some time, so, yeah. Since Chris is here, can we jump ahead to that Merchants Drive layout zone map?
I really want to make him wait. No, I'm just joking. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, get out, walk back in the door, sit down for a minute.
Send him back, make him back.
Well, this will be relatively quick. The properties at 6481 and 6485 Merchants Drive in Layotto, it was the old indoor paintball park. The property is now owned by, I believe, an investment company who is looking to lease out the building, and potential leasers that they're finding are looking for uses that are more in line with our I-2 low-intensity industrial zoning district for warehousing, light manufacturing, that sort of use. The building bodes itself for that type of use versus our C2 commercial, highway commercial district, which is more gas stations, coffee shops, more highway commercial style uses, that just the building and grounds aren't really adapted for that type of use. So they're looking to get that rezoned. It's approximately 5 acres. It's 2 separate parcels. There's that north parcel and then the south parcel, going from, again, the C4 highway commercial to the I-2 low-intensity industrial. Plan Commission did give a unanimous favorable recommendation to you county commissioners for this request.
Just south of it's also like a little paintball thing. Is that not included in it?
No, and that's gonna, but I believe that's gonna remain an outdoor
Paintball thing?
paintball or, yeah, whatever.
A little green spot just south of the building is like an outdoor paintball. I didn't know if they were gonna include that in too.
Nope. The woman that owned all those parcels at one time and developed the whole Layotto Business Park area, she still owns that.
Okay. And is there still a motocross thing down there or dirt bikes
Yeah.
or whatever? Yep. Dirt bikes.
Motocross or, yeah,
Motocross,
dirt bikes.
or
down there.
whatever. They have like a little, they
Yep.
had a little track down there. I'm not sure if it's
Yep.
still there or not.
And this little area has seen some development. If you remember, API Construction moved from Noble County just over the line.
Right.
They were renting a space there, and built their new headquarters just to the end of that cul-de-sac on the southwest side. And so they've seen an uptick in interest for leasing a building of this size. So it's pretty good to see.
I don't see a problem with it. I'll make a motion to accept.
Second?
A motion on the floor. Any additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'll get that recorded and bring you back a copy. Stick it on your desk.
No problem.
Okay. Let's move on down to county home report. What have we got there? Thing to acknowledge.
Yes, we need to acknowledge receipt of, what, let's see, it'd be May. See what month I'm in here. And I believe that was scanned in your in your email.
Oh, I missed that. I don't know why it didn't pop up.
It was underneath miscellaneous,
Oh,
in the miscellaneous folder.
okay.
Susan, so you want us, all we're doing is accepting the report as presented.
Yep,
correct?
you're just acknowledging that you received
Okay,
it.
I would so make that motion. We've received the combined report of the county home at Sunny Meadows.
I'll second.
And there's a second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Okay, you have the,
Those are the minutes I forgot to pass earlier. Thank you. The last thing is the covered bridge certification. We have to do this every year. So I need you guys to approve it, and then we all sign it, and then I have to turn it in.
We're just acknowledging that we have one covered bridge, that's it. All that really says. Okay. I'll make the motion.
Second.
motion second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Okay, through that part of the miscellaneous, I've got a couple items. Anybody else have anything on the miscellaneous? Just a couple, this is FYI, we held a courthouse security committee meeting last Friday. It's the first one we've had in, since we established the courthouse security system, basically. And I can't elaborate on anything that was talked about at this point, but there will be maybe some changes coming to some of the security procedures. We're going to meet again next month. We decided to meet every month until we get some of this ironed out and get some recommendations back to the commissioners. So, but all I can say at this time, except the wheels are in motion to make possibly some changes in security. You want to present anything on the EMS, Kellen? I know it's, if you want to have a conversation about anything.
Yeah, I sent you on the EMS contract over on Friday. Andrew Cruz has not looked at it yet, so I'm not really want to get into too many details of it, but we do have that contract. Parkview's been talking to me. We came up, presented what they sent to us. So if you guys want to look over that in the next 2 weeks, we can probably talk about more in depth in the next meeting.
One thing I found kind of interesting, and that is the pay. They are to invoice us 30 days before it's due. But if they don't happen to invoice us, it's still our responsibility to pay it in a timely manner, which I really have no problem with that. What I found interesting, there's no penalty if we do not pay in a timely manner. So I thought, well, that's to our advantage. I'm not complaining. I just found it interesting that
It was good faith, probably.
there wasn't some penalty included. But anyway. Okay. What do we got on Commissioner's budget? Anything we can start on with that?
I didn't print them yet because I was trying to be on vacation last week. So yeah, give me a couple minutes and I can have it printed for you.
Okay. Now let's
The majority are kind of just like we just do the normal increase. The insurance, perf, Social Security, I do that at the end.
yeah.
And then when it gets a little bit closer to me submitting it, I look up to see like legal fees and see stuff where we're at and
What we spent.
adjust, how we need. The big ones for you guys will be like Humane Shelter and the TNR program and
Yeah.
those kinds of things. But yep, I will get it to you in 1 second.
Okay.
Said Humane Shelter, and what was the second one?
The TNR, the Trap Neuter Release Program, this year we had actually added some more to it because they've done a really good job.
Is that additional 2,500?
Yeah, I think we added
rest
an
of the
extra
year?
4,500.
Yeah,
I think you guys
total.
decided 4,500
Yeah, that's total.
that we added. What are those dates? Here.
So while Susan's pulling that up, I have the budget presentation hearing schedule, and I didn't know if and when 3 of you want to come, 1 of you wants to come, but they're July 9th, and then they're also in the afternoon, and then they're also on July 10th. So I'm not sure how you all want to present that, or how many of you want to come, or if you, I asked because I didn't know the 3 of your schedules together. So I thought it would be better here. Or you can look at it and just let me know, but they're July 9th in the afternoon and July 10th.
9th and 10th.
Yep.
What time on July 10th?
Well, there's different times available. For the most part, on July 9th, they're all afternoon appointments. And And then July 10th, I have a few in the morning, and then the whole afternoon is open right now. I haven't called anyone else back yet, just because I wanted to get you on the books.
There'd be no drainage board on the 10th, obviously.
No, that's the second.
July 10th is a drainage board races.
That'd be the second, so,
What works for you guys?
pardon me?
What works for you
Either one of
guys?
them works for me.
Yeah,
I'd probably do the 9th more because my wife's birthday's on the 10th,
Okay.
but we probably won't do anything until the after,
There's no drainage.
evening time anyways, but
Oh, okay.
either one's fine with me. Either one's fine with me, but July 9th would be preferred.
No, we can do that. What time?
July 9th, I have like a 1 o'clock or a 2 o'clock, or anything after 2:40.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock on July 9th. Okay, thank you.
Got it.
Now I'll let you go to your regularly scheduled meeting.
I'm trying to get this so you guys can actually see it.
Or is one of you guys wanting to call the elevator service?
Who?
The elevator service executive? Deal with that problem.
Yeah, Andrew's going to get a verification on when we have to give them notification. And it may be, figuring it roughly, November or December of this year.
Is that for Otis or is that for executive?
That's for Otis.
Otis, okay.
Yeah. When he gets back from vacation, he's going to call, get in touch with this fella at Otis and have them give us the exact date. Because it's a weird window, of course, as you might have read. And he's going to have them tell us, when does this notification have to be in? So we're not
Not missing it.
missing anything. Put it on them to tell us. So that'll be taken care of when he gets back. Yeah,
different kind of a contract.
yeah, and it's the only one like that he's ever seen. And
Really?
he hadn't had, he kind of had to scratch his head to figure out when it was supposed to be done. So we'll see.
Not in the county's best interest.
No, the whole thing is,
It's to keep you on the toes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So is anybody contacting executive to see if we can be out of that one until Otis, or are we just gonna go with both of them? I mean, I'm pretty sure I've already paid.
Haven't contacted executive yet, no. Probably wait and see what comes out of the other one first, and we'll know for sure where we're at.
Okay.
Have we seen anything on the clerk's remodel contract yet?
I've asked a couple different times. I haven't seen anything. I don't have anything yet.
Not yet, okay.
I'm not sure what they will have besides like their quote, but we can see. Because like I don't think I necessarily I didn't have a contract with anybody when they did my like plaster repair and stuff. We just had, I forget who it was.
Was that Weimer?
Yes, we had Weimer come in and do that. And I don't recall that there was a contract, and I looked, and I don't recall there was a contract or anything for when they painted the treasurer's office. Well, this is too.
I
Like,
seem
it
to
wouldn't have
remember the
been-
treasures that we did sign something. That's way back when Jackie and Don were still on. I
I'd have to
believe.
look. I would say, I think When I looked the other night, it was, I think it was in 2022, but I didn't see anything.
I'm not sure. When we get into something as big as that is, we need to have a contract, and I think that needs to be bid out. I think the threshold is 150,000 for bid.
It's not anywhere close to that, though.
I thought she said 250.
They didn't know what they needed. They asked the council for approval up to a certain dollar amount because they had no idea what the amounts were going to come in at.
Where are we at then total with the days?
Today and I guess it depends how you're looking at it, because today, what I could see for today, we are at 91,724 for all 3 sections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in 2020 is when we painted the treasurer's office.
2020.
And they used that Knox decorative painting, the same people that the
Mm-hmm.
clerk is using. So for the treasurer's office, that was just under 18,500 for the one office. And we're like at 39,750 for the clerk for all 3 offices.
They just said 89 something.
So that is the 91,724. That is for the Knox. That's for Allen Roth, which does our flooring. For budget blinds, they have some blinds in the windows. And for Bassett office furniture.
Okay,
That's all together.
together.
And I mean, I don't know how much is still outstanding or by any means, but what I can see from that. So I'm not sure what they'll actually have, but I have requested it
Okay,
to see what we get.
okay, we'll see what comes up. I do remember when you did the recorder's office, and I believe your office, I'm not sure about yours, I know the recorder, we got quotes.
Yeah.
Did you get multiple, maybe 2 or 3 quotes, and Wyman come in low, and that's who we hired to do that. I don't remember if we did quotes on yours. I assume we did, but I'm not
I'm trying to remember.
on the auditor's office.
Because Larry did a lot of the work over on the transfer side, like in between.
Yeah, I did that
He
rebuilding.
did
and-
most of that, so that would have been already his stuff.
I know
So
Derek-
Weimer, I guess, would have been the only one. But Jan started it.
Yeah, I think.
So
Derek-
I
Derek
think we
Wyman
have-
repaired the plaster over there, and he
Yeah.
painted
Yep.
yours. Yeah,
Yeah, I think she did. I would have to go back in and look.
yeah, okay.
That's been a few.
That's been,
Okay, so what Jody just handed to you, I highlighted in yellow. Those are the items that are commissioners, and then the very bottom of the second page and on the third page, the blue also would have your input. It's the courthouse, like Larry, like his wages, their wages are in there. Those, in the past, I pretty much just go off of what we have spent, what it looks like we're gonna be spending, or anything extra that we know of.
well, one number I'm not seeing, and I have seen in the past, is how much have we spent out of each one of those categories at this point? Because we're right at the halfway point of the year.
Right.
And so that gives us some guidance, what's left in that budget to be spent, what's ahead in that budget that we're gonna have to take care
Right,
of.
there's,
And that gave us some guidance on make some adjustments.
so the very first numbered column, that is gonna show you a whole year of 2024.
Yes,
So you'll have that amount. And then I go back in and manipulate the spreadsheet to get you the current numbers. I can't just pull that in certain reports.
When do we have to have this done?
We have,
We got,
other departments have to already, what, they were due 15th or whatever, but that is so that we have enough time to work on everything. So the Commissioners' Council have a little leeway because you guys work so closely with me that I
we
can
go in on the 9th,
get
right?
it.
So we have to have it by the 9th, obviously. Is that correct?
Yeah, you'd want to have a good idea.
The 9th.
So I can tell you the Northeast, it says NEIN, mental health, that is a provided number. You guys don't get to choose that number. Right now it's like 432,622. So you guys don't, well, it'll be a different number, but the state tells me what it is. You don't have to choose it. The perf, insurance, social security, you guys don't do that.
Is that perf,
Perf, insurance, social security.
those three?
You guys won't do your guys' pay.
Where is it? Oh, clear up here.
Those three, we can't do anything with.
Your guys' pay will be what council decides on what we're increasing. So you guys won't need to do anything with that. Longevity, you don't do anything. I figure that with payroll on what's gonna come through.
Well, I think the first one maybe we need to pay some attention to is the humane shelter. Fee for service, $50,000. What adjustments, if any, do we see there that we need to make?
And then a little further up is the TNR part. And I don't remember if there was a third one that Brian had suggested possibly.
He had about 3 or 4 other different animal shelters that do different services. Like you have ones that deal with horses and other larger animals and stuff like that, that he would like us to look into. That would help. I think having a conversation with the new animal control officer would probably be beneficial to see which services she would need to make sure we have set up for her.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So, if you want to, I could lead that part of it if you like. We have one person talking instead of having 3 of us trying to talk to her.
Because that's gonna, yeah, does that fall under the sheriff or does that fall under the commissioners or? I'm not sure how that even works out, that who has that.
I think the animal control's underneath the sheriff. The paying, it's just like the Humane Society. We would pay that out of ours. I'd imagine that out of that 50,000, we could just split that up and figure out exactly what that all is.
Yeah.
I think the pay of the officer.
Correct.
He seemed to,
He had some
Right.
things to play with.
Yeah, the wages will come out of the sheriff's budget,
yeah, he seemed
but
to
these
think,
would stay with you guys.
yeah. He seemed to think he had the money for that when last I talked to him. So I'm not sure how involved we need to get in that process because that person will take care of a lot of that, the animal control as far as.
Well, that part of it, but I guess, say that person wants, because I remember, there's one that dealt with like snakes or, like that other vendor that Brian was talking about. I guess it would be whether you want to split up money for, snake people, the other animal
Horses.
thing, humane shelter,
Like, if she goes and gets a
TNR.
horse and has to take it, where is she going to take it?
So like if you guys want to
And then we go to these
donate,
other vendors that we could give $500,000 to kind of, hey, help you out if you are willing to take these if we need to.
yeah, things like.
That's kind of the thought, is to get something in writing with these companies, these other shelters, the snake people, as Susan says, to make sure that if she has to we move these animals from the facilities or the places they're at, she has a place to put them, because right now we would have no place to put them.
Yeah. Now, would that be a flat fee up front? Would that be a fee that would be charged, would be billed
That's something we'd
for?
have to talk to her about and talk to the vendors about and see what they would be willing to do.
What to do?
If they're willing to take $1,000 donation, they'll take whatever they want for the first year and see how it kind of works, or not. That's the conversation we need to have.
Okay,
And that's what I'll do that conversation.
Okay.
That way we're not having three of us asking a bunch of people.
that'd be fine.
Can I ask her to come?
Yeah, I'll have explain everything, but I'll have a conversation with her.
And that would be pulled out of the animal, or out of the humane shelter budget, I assume, basically.
Yeah, because they can't,
Yeah.
Because I think they couldn't do everything that we thought they were
Yeah.
doing, and so you were gonna spread it apart with.
Right. Okay,
The other ones are the, like Easter Seals Rise, the Alliance Industries, Council on Aging.
You're saying we do not?
No, you do those. Yeah, you guys, I believe, gosh, I'm trying to think how long ago it was. Oh, Children's First Center is another one.
Alliance Industries.
You guys had, like, split it up and they got 34,000 each the last time.
I want to remind everybody, according to Jeff Peters, the council money advisor didn't paint a very rosy picture about the upcoming revenue. So there may be some places we may have to make some cuts. Yeah. EMS agreement is one we're not going to cut, obviously.
Right.
you know, we're legally bound to have to provide services.
Yeah. And that's fair. We understand that, I believe.
I think this might be a good opportunity to talk about moving the president to a full-time position. I know that's kind of counterintuitive what we just said about cutting, but me personally, I've seen the last couple of months a lot of contracts that have been expired, that we've been spending money on, that no one's even looked into. I think moving the president to a full-time position with an increased pay to make sure that all the contracts are being reviewed every year, bring it to the front of the commissioners to make sure that these services are being provided, making sure that they're following through with the contracts. A good example is the Humane Society one. When I understand correct, Susan, it's been 3 years since we've had an updated contract on that. I think a conversation 3 years ago would have realized that they couldn't provide all the services that were in the contract, that we could have, you know, paid them accordingly to the services they provided, which would have saved some money. The elevator contract that we kind of just ran into here, that would have known some of that, details of that. And then like the EMS contract is another one of who's on point when it's time to have contract negotiations with services and people, who is the one that's going to be the point person for those contracts. Now, the EMS kind of came into my lap because I'm on the EMS advisory board, but going forward, when we have all these other contracts, because we have a lot of contracts, and the commissioners are in charge of all contracts per state statute, from what I understand, that me, the president's position should be the one that's reviewing all contracts every year, making sure that if we're out of contract, that we either decide, bring it to the table for all three commissioners to look at and go, hey, this is a contract that, do we want to continue this? Do we not want to continue this? How do we want to renegotiate this? I feel like, I mean, just in the short period of time I've been here, and I'm not speaking on Jim's behalf, but my behalf, that it seems like there's a lot of contracts that need to be reviewed, we looked at, because we keep running into them that have been signed and then been past their due dates. So my thought process to think something along those lines of making the president more of a full-time and then making his role to make sure he's reviewing all the contracts to make sure, hey, this one's going to expire into this year, bring it to the other 3 commissioners so they can have a conversation. Because contracts are just being signed, running their course, and then we just continue to keep paying them, not even knowing if we're still getting the services or not.
So you're wanting to create a whole new position?
No, just to take the present position, and then increase. I'm not sure how it all looks. Haven't really had a chance to look down on it, to dig too much into it, so I'm kind of bringing it up today. But there's just a lot of contracts that we keep running into that have been expired. Well, I don't want to say expired, but ran its course years ago. A good example, like we talked about now, is Humane Society. I mean, it's 3 years past when it was supposed to be looked at again. That was $50,000. We paid $150,000 the last 3 years of who knows what services they provide in that time period. Now, I'm not knocking Humane Society. This is just a general conversation we're having about contracts. Like,
On these contracts, I have a question. Wouldn't there be a way that those expiration dates would pop up on the computer and give us an automatic notification that, you know, when we renew one, we put in an expiration date and that pops up? Somebody,
That is probably, I mean, that is possible. There are software systems that you can put all that in. Otherwise, it would literally be me setting up a calendar reminder for every single contract and the expiration. Which is a lot for the
whether it's
entire
you or
county.
whether it would be president or county manager, whoever, that would need that, I would think that function.
but I think that whoever, if it's county manager or president, I'm just saying what you were saying there, that should be the responsibility of the commissioners needs to make sure that the contracts are being, because we're in charge of the contracts. I don't want to put that on the auditor or anybody else. It should be really to making sure that these contracts are being followed up with, make sure that these services are actually being provided, talking to the businesses and the other people about what it is, because I feel like there's a lot of contracts out there that I don't think anybody's ever hasn't looked at in a while. And I feel like that needs to be looked at on a consistent basis.
I don't know. I really can't say. I know we look at a lot of contracts.
Yeah.
Almost every week is a contract that goes to the lawyer, and he looks at it and checks it over. And so I don't know how many we're missing. I have no way of knowing.
No, and I'm not knocking you or anybody, any of the previous presidents or anything. I just feel like there is so many contracts now that there needs to be one person, and I think it should be the president, and they should be compensated for it, among other things too. That role should be to making sure that these contracts, we deal with the contracts as they come in, but do we ever really follow up with the contracts after we've done the initial contract? So, because the Otis one's a good example too. We moved off of them to executive. We find out now that we have to wait a certain period of time and all that. Like, it's always kind of reactive versus being proactive and seeing where money's being spent and stuff.
Right. We can continue that conversation. In the meantime, let's get Cheryl up and see what you got for us today, Cheryl.
Good morning. Is your mic on, Cheryl? Is the green light on?
It's on now.
Thank
Can you hear me okay? Okay. I'm here because each year you wanted a little bit of a report on what's been happening with the HFI funding. So I sent some information to you, so I won't spend a lot of time on this, but there's some things that I wanted to tell you. You probably heard the HFI funding has changed. I'm looking at the paper that says for the commissioners at the top, the tobacco prevention and cessation is no longer being funded. That came into effect about a month ago. So we had to release those partners this year, and we won't do anything of that sort in the following year. The other issue is we have to only service Indiana residents and legal immigrants that are living in Indiana. So we're in the process of working with attorneys to figure out some type of way of documenting that. So we're working on that. For the 2026 budget, we are going to get 26.7% of what we have this year. So our funding went down from like 850,000 to, it will be next year $226,000. Because of that, we are planning on just funding the programs within the health department, as we made sure that we were taking care of the required programs for the funding. So that's our goal. When we go through the paperwork, you'll see that. We have a preparedness contractor that's actually paid out of our bioterror account. He's $25,000 a year. This year, they've cut that funding by $5,000 starting July 1st. So I had to find a place to pay for him. That position is required by the HFI funding, so I put that expense into the HFI. So I'll pay him the full preparedness grant plus $5,000 out of the HFI funding. One of the issues with the changes, as far as making sure we have a legal immigrant living in Indiana, is we still have to treat them. Right now, I put all that into the HFI funding because we had no screening that was required. But we have to continue to have funding somewhere to take care of people that are not legal immigrants, just because if we get a TB case or a communicable disease case, doesn't matter whether they're a legal immigrant or not. We have to protect everybody here. So I've made plans to put in the budget for the 1159 a 2%, and I was just guessing on what to do, but I put in 2% of what I budgeted in the HFI. So there's a 2% allotment that I put into the 1159 for those situations, so that in case anything comes up. It would also help the higher ups, like the state and such, the federal government. No, I think that's a state program, I'm sorry. To know that we are allotting money to care for those people. So I think it's important that we show that in a budget line. With this funding, if you don't remember, we replaced the 1168, which is the local health maintenance fund that we had, and the tobacco fund, which was the 1206. Now this funding, and those two together were called the legacy fund. We no longer get those when we took on the HFI funding. So there's a balance in those accounts. What I intend to do is use those for vehicles and vaccine units, the big equipment, until we run them out. It's complicated now to get into those funds for every little thing that we're doing. So it's just easier to use them for the big vehicles and things of that sort until they run out. And then I put the balances in both of those at the bottom for you. Do you have any questions about those things?
Questions for Cheryl? Comments?
I'm sorry you got that funding cut. That's,
Oh, it's horrible.
yes, it is. It's
We
very
were
horrible.
sailing. There, I don't know, it could come back, I don't know about that, but we're just rolling with it. We're making lemonade out of lemons with that. And you'll see the next packet is this one with the blue on the front. This tells you a lot about what we've done with that money. I'm going to, the two required positions are on the third page. That's the school nurse liaison, community nurse, and the preparedness position. Helen had actually reached out and asked what all that position does, and I do have a little more to add to this little preparedness requirements here. He makes sure all of our equipment's up to date. He helps with our drive-through vaccine clinics. He will also be involved. He'll be an integral part if we have an emergency in the county, like the COVID clinic. He would be very helpful in that regard. The next thing I wanted to mention to you is the HFI funding progression. This page I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. The first year we spent a lot of time just trying to make partners and develop programs that we could fund. This year, we expanded those programs. We expect to spend $887,811 this year. We'll see how that goes because they cut some of our programs that we can fund. In 2026, you can see the dollar amount, the income coming in is much smaller. The next page, I like this page. It's called the data impact. There was probably the most important part is in 2024, we had 9 partners. This year we have 19. You can see the encounters. If you look down there, you'll see in 2024 how many encounters we were paying for. And then the same in 2025. The 19 partners in 2025, all the encounters that we've had and paid for. And you can also see how much money we spent on the last column for each of those. I have to brag, we've done very well. And Alyssa has been an integral part of that. She works hard. Now, we do have 2026 applications. I just put this page on here because it tells you what people were wanting. We got these applications prior to the funding announcement as far as what we were going to get. So currently, these partners won't be funded. We're hoping that maybe we can find ways to pick up some. The issue would be choosing, because we've got fantastic partners if you go through that list and see the things that they're doing.
So you have the drug-free Noble County, that's tobacco prevention, so that one will not be funded.
Yeah, that one will not be.
And then McMillan Center for Health, that's tobacco prevention
Well,
and Mom and Me classes, so I'm assuming some of that's going to be, the Mom and Me classes will.
what was the last one?
McMillan Center for Health Education, it says tobacco prevention and Mom and Me classes. So I'm assuming the tobacco prevention will not be, correct?
Correct.
But the Mom and Me might,
They would not. You're right. They would
that
not.
whole line item wouldn't be okay.
The one thing I would want to mention is, as far as the tobacco cessation and prevention, there is like a, it's not a clause, but the school nurse liaison can bring in education to the schools. So there is some tobacco capabilities there, but that's the only way. So that's the only way HFI will pay for it. And then the next thing I can show you, or did you have any questions on that?
How much are they cutting the funding?
600, I think it's 620 some thousand.
For us?
Yes, for the health department.
If you take what we're getting, and that's only 26% of what we would have got,
Yeah,
that's probably about what it's going to come out, somewhere in the 600,000.
yes. I think the current budget is 846,000. And we're going to be down to 226. So,
Anybody that's watching and listening,
yeah,
it's a big cut.
it is.
Most of this page really would be gone, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Most of this page will not be funded, is that correct? On the 2026?
2026,
Yeah.
the tobacco can't, and we can't service anybody,
Mike,
care for anyone that isn't a legal immigrant.
Mike, would you stand to your mic, please?
Sorry. Okay.
How about soil and water, septic tank,
We,
our share?
yeah, we can't do that either.
Do that.
What we did, I tried to find a good break. And the best thing for us to do, since we took on all the programs that were required, it was better for us to just continue to fund the health department. And then also it would be hard to choose partners. As you can see, we've had some really good work that's been done. But we had to have the required programs, so I figured we need to just keep the health department
Yeah.
going at this point.
I say what I would have to agree with that, that's, we got to take care of this first, us first.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, the budget itself, as you go down, like Emily, the pay for Emily, that was already submitted to the state, and that will likely change. And the council said that they very likely may not have any increase, but this had already been handed in, so I'll just take care of that once we know for sure. And the operating supplies, they're pretty self-explanatory, clinical type things that we use. Incentives, these are for the core services to get people to participate in trainings and different types of activities that will help them pick up life skills, things of that sort. The medical supplies are the vaccines and emergency preparedness medications. Meeting supplies, self-explanatory. Manuals, that is for the health and environmental area, just educational materials that we purchase for people. The software, we have new software that we will be paying an annual fee for the environmentalists and for the vital records. The next one, equipment repair and maintenance, is just our cholesterol machine. Kathy has a septic system program that she does, so I budgeted for a backhoe rental for that. And the other stuff, the contractual services includes that 5,000 for the preparedness contractor. And I did have enough to budget a small amount for equipment purchasing that's unexpected. Questions on that?
Questions, comments?
I think you're handed a very hard situation and you're handling it as best as you can. Getting that much cut off your budget unexpectedly is huge. And I also want to point out that the health department's been helping out with Sunny Meadows. It's been a great help out there, helping us out, stepping up for situations that need to be helped out. So I want to applaud you for helping us out there at Sunny Meadows too.
Glad to do it.
We do need approval from you guys, since this is HFI funding, for the budget that she just presented to you, for her to be able to submit it.
We'll move to allow her to present the budget as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and second on the floor, and additional comments? Comments
Yes,
from the public?
I appreciate very much all of the hard work.
Please vote.
I certainly feel the state has failed. You know, they start these programs, and it's
Jim.
another example.
Do the vote.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Let's do the vote.
Oh.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Now you can do your comments.
Well, again, I appreciate very much the hard work you do, and I really feel, again, that the state has failed, and you know, I'm not there to make judgment, but again, the state started a program, and now they dropped the funding and expect the local people to make up the difference. It's happened time and again, but
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean, it's a sad thing to start such a
yeah,
wonderful group of partners and programs and be serving. I mean, people were so thankful. And it felt good to us to be able to do stuff we've wanted to do and never had the money to do. We're looking for some programs that we can do that are really low cost, that will maybe impact the community in a good way. So we're not done. I mean, we're going to try.
yep.
So-
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys all have a good day.
You too. You too.
Okay. Yeah, the government giveth and the government taketh away. That's what
That program was
grants
just
are.
put in, what, 2 years ago? Last year? I mean, it wasn't even very long before they took it away.
Yeah, it was, and we had some reservations about that grant. And there was, the conversation was, it could come and it could go. There's no guarantee it's always going to be there, because politics, we just have to be ready to make changes very quickly
And here we are.
and adapt and adjust. Okay.
I did send you guys an email with the Knox painting quote. You have it in your email.
Okay.
Is this comparable to other jobs that have, and remodeling jobs that have been done?
Well, I think so. It's hard to think about that because she has such a big area. I'm trying to think.
All right, moving on. A little more on the budget. Any comments, questions? I did have a question. Economic development, number 31. Is that Anton? Partnership.
Let me look at that real quick. I always get them backwards, so let me look real quick.
Yeah, well,
So second page under lighted,
Okay,
number 31 says
Okay.
economic development. So, no, number 15 is Anton. Economic development, I believe that is the amount that you guys generally have in case there's some kind of development that you want to do, or maybe to purchase a building or something like that.
we
I
never spent any of it, it looks like.
believe the last time we used it was to help with the Fred Gross Cup drain a while ago.
Move on down to number 64, highway. We've been given $1 million to the highway department, and part of what that funds is the dust control. And I think that takes about a quarter of that. So
more than that, 300 and some thousand this year.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Highway building fund, of course. That is at zero now. Okay, we're going down. The bond payment, $825,750, which we have to continue. Question is, what is our totals? If we stay with these numbers and may just do some shifting, what is our overall total? 18,
Million.
835, 913,
That was what was approved for 2025,
125, right.
including the courthouse part of it.
What's our projected, do we have a projected on that income next year?
Are you wanting like for the lighted part or everything in general?
Be nice if we had both, actually.
Okay, give me 1 second
Okay.
to drill down here a minute. I will have to kind of break it down like the general fund. Total, so like every department that uses the general fund is, looks like we're projecting just over 21.9 in revenue. It looks like of the general fund, it looks like he was estimating that the commissioners would have a budget of about 9.3 million. And the courthouse would have a budget of about a little over 665,000.
Okay, we're getting up close to break time. What I'm going to recommend, gentlemen, is that you go through this, take it home, go through it, bring back recommendations on any adjustments you would see necessary. And we don't come up short on this because we got the, I don't want to short the highway if we don't have to. I don't want to, we have to make the bond payment. That's, there's no question there. So yeah, bring back what you think might be needed. If we need a special meeting anytime to do this, we can crank up a special meeting in between.
For the lighted fund, it looks like he's projecting that a little over 2.1 million will come in and that you'll spend 2.1. That's kind of a hard one only because you don't always spend all of that every year. So, but that's what he has put in his projections.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Let's take a break.
Ready when you're ready.
Okay, we're back from break. So, Ben.
Good morning, guys.
Hey.
Morning.
A little warm out there.
No. If it gets 100, that'll be warm.
Right, right. Well, I got a few things for you today. First thing I have, I've got a couple of copies here. You guys can have one. This is a price for it's a new mower from Truland. It'd be a rear 3-point mower. It's a 2022 model that they've had. It's their heavy-duty model. We do currently have a Samaz 60-inch flail mower. This is a 5'3", 5'3", so it's a little bit shorter, but it's heavier duty. They've got a price on this, a discounted price for $10,875. And earlier, the beginning of the year, he looked at one of my used mowers. I talked about trading. Thought I'd hold off, but we've had some more issues. He was offering a $2,000 trade for that, which we've had some issues with that mower. It's broke since then. I don't know if I'll still get that, but if he does, this price could come down a little bit. But this would help keep us moving with mowing, and mowing's hard on stuff. I think the last mower we bought was 2018 for the back. So, yeah. So if you guys are okay with that, I've got this in my budget. I'd like to go ahead and proceed with this purchase from Truland for $10,875 for the Maz flail mower.
You said it's within your, you have it in your budget already?
Yeah.
And that'd be available, I take it, for
It's sitting there now.
just ready to go.
Yep,
Go right to work.
yep.
Grass is growing.
Grass is growing. It hasn't stopped.
Hasn't stopped. Hasn't slowed down.
Yeah. Tried getting Jim go up there and mow all the roads up around his place, and I don't think he has.
Has it?
I mowed our road this weekend,
Did you? Well, good.
and 39.
Yeah, well, good.
Finished 39,
Well, I appreciate the help.
yeah, always.
Questions, comments? Motion?
I would so move we accept the bid as presented.
I'll second.
I have motion second on the floor. Now we'll do questions or comments. Comments from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
You can give Susan your copy if you want,
I
Bill.
need to,
There's no spot to sign on it. Well, I guess there is at the bottom right, if you want to sign one, Bill,
Yeah.
and then give one to Susan. Here you go. Bottom right says accepted by, it's real small at the bottom at the right.
So I signed the wrong.
that's all right.
You got plenty.
Yep, we have plenty.
To the right. He did say to the right.
You want to come run that for us too, Jim, after we pick that up?
I'll stick with the one we have.
Okay.
How's that?
I don't want to ruin the county's
Go
new
ahead and just
property.
put that in. Yep, thank you.
New purchase.
You got a phone call 20 minutes later, I rolled it.
Back to bed.
Well, we're trying to upgrade our tractors to the 6,000 series from the 5s, but the 2 5s I got are good tractors yet, so that's what these will go on. But as them get aged and time to replace, I'm going to the 6 series. And that's got the mower that goes off the side, it's a lot heavier mower. So hopefully, so far with the one we've had good luck with, and holding up wise, it's really heavy. So, thank you. I'll move forward with that. I see Andrew's off today, but I've been working back and forth with Andrew and also United Consulting, which Jeff Larson, he's here today from United Consulting. We got our Bridge 503, which is on Auburn Drive right over here. It's up for rehab, and I reached out to Jeff about getting us a task order to do some rehab on that bridge. That bridge is going to need a new deck. It's underneath. It's got the concrete that was poured underneath both sides of the deck instead of riprap. It's been all undermined. It's been broke. All that's got to be removed, re-riprapped. Some of the pilings encased. You'll get new guardrail on top and make it more compliant. Did reach out to Auburn on this project as well to ask if they was interested in doing the sidewalk on the north side of that bridge, and I did receive a call back that they did not want to participate in that. They didn't feel there's enough foot traffic in that area. So I talked to United. We removed that from the scope of the work on this bridge. So this bridge will be put back as it is, but with a little bit different guardrail on it, new deck, and a lot of underneath work that you're really not going to see. They've got this task order broke down for design survey, 15,000, environmental services, U.S. Waters report, asbestos investigation and report, regulatory permits. All these has got a line item with the cost of it's hourly, not to exceed. If you add all these together, we're at a total fee of 101. So I'm suspecting we're gonna come in less than that, but that's what the agreement is for. I did send this off to Andrew, had him review it and got his blessing. And the money's in the budget for this. If you guys are on board, I'd like to ask your permission that I can move forward with United Consulting on Bridge 503.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You guys get a copy of this?
You can have that one right there.
You guys gonna see this?
No.
I've not seen this. I didn't get it in our data, in our stuff.
No, Jim, or Andrew didn't reply to me until Friday.
You see the pictures, there's some erosion.
Yeah, it's mostly all pictures of the bridge. The task order's in the front, what we're gonna do. The second page is to sign. That's pretty simple. The rest of it is the bridge report pulled off the bias. That's what's reported through the state. And it just shows a lot of the pictures of the bridge, the condition of it, and what the inspectors found on the bridge during their annual inspection. This one's been on our asset to be updated, improved for a while. We're working down our list for what we get from the inspectors as far as a priority. So this one was next on
And
the
the
priority.
inspectors are sourced out.
Yes. Right now, it's currently USI, but that is out for bid again this summer. It's a 4-year term. So then whoever we select for this next 4-year term will do our bridge inspections.
Can you send me that?
United had our bridge inspections when I first started here. I worked with them as well. They did our Bridge 57 over here. I think that was 2 years ago on County Road 40. That was a rehab. I think it was 57, if I remember right. What's that? Was it? Yep. And they did a really good job on that. I think they saved us some costs with their scope of work, what they did on it, and the bridge turned out really well.
They're just designing it, they're not building it, right?
No, well, this will be the scope of work,
And then we'll bid it out.
then we'll have to bid it, yep. This is just engineering services.
According to the pictures, it's certainly in need of repair.
Yeah,
there's a couple of
there's no argument on that.
Yeah, it's certainly in need. I would so move that we accept the consulting contract as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
No comments?
There you go, Ben.
Last thing I have is just an FYI, dust control is starting today.
It started.
Yep, they are starting today. They are hauling loads out this morning and starting dust control. So if anybody asks you, it's started. So a little bit later than I was hoping for, but in a way, that's not all bad because then it will last a little bit longer through.
Well, and we've had
August.
so much rain, and it just,
Right. They got behind in Whitley and LaGrange, it sounded like, from the weather and the rain, and
I think it'll be a benefit, because we haven't had that. We've had enough rain, the dust hasn't been a really bad problem on most roads.
right.
But, say you put that down, it rains an hour later and it's gone.
Right.
We're gonna do 17 solid and 14. Those gonna be sprayed solid.
I have not planned on 14. I can spray 17 solid if you like, if you guys want me to.
We did last year, I
You
believe.
did. I know we was hoping to convert that road sometime soon, but it's not gonna be this year.
Yeah.
It's not in, I didn't budget for it. I've had too many other blow-ups and things from the winter.
If we're gonna convert 14, should we spray that? Talked about converting that.
If you guys decide you want that converted, it will have to start being treated. I'll have to have berms pulled on it. I'll have to start prepping it, yes.
Put berms on that, didn't you? I
I
believe.
don't remember, Bill.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I did or not.
Yeah, you poured the
I do so many roads, I can't,
Yeah,
I gotta go back and look at my notes, and
yeah, they're pooled.
I don't remember.
It's between 39 and 35. I believe, yeah. Anyway, yeah, we talked about our chip and seal on that one.
Must have been prior to my time. Must have been prior to my time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with that. 17 I was aware of, we sprayed that last year, maybe the year before, I'd have to look.
I think last year was the first time. We sprayed 17, I believe, but as I recall, but anyway.
So that's up to you guys, whatever.
I'd like to see 14 sprayed.
Personally, I don't see any reason to do it. I mean, it's a dead-end road. It doesn't connect either way to anything else.
It connects to asphalt on both ends.
Pardon me?
Connects to asphalt on both ends.
Well, okay, but they can go up to County Road 10.
They can.
Since I live right there, I don't see that much traffic there. I can see 14 from my house. It's just my thought. I don't see that need for it.
Which road is that?
County Road 14,
Between what and what?
between 35 and 39.
What is that, mile long?
Mile and a quarter, probably.
Well, we would be,
What, 10 houses on it?
35 to 14 or 41?
No,
600
There's
times.
2 houses, 3 houses.
yeah,
It's more than that.
I'm looking at Beacon right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
35, you have the cluster of 3 here, and you go to 41. Okay, hold on, I guess that one's off at 39.
Cost me about $3,700, looks like, to spray that.
Up to you guys.
If that, I don't have it scaled off, I'm just shooting from the hip, the length of it, I don't know what it is.
Just 12 is a mile and a quarter. Going to assume 14 is the same. Street, 39 is not.
About
Yeah,
37.
39 is not, I would say 14 is probably a little longer than 12. Because it kind of slants like this down.
Yeah.
What do you mean by spray solid, I guess?
We'll spray,
I don't know what that term means.
we'll spray the road solid with calcium chloride,
One end to the other.
from one end to the other, so that whole road will basically be dust controlled. The reasoning we do that is the calcium chloride draws moisture, and moisture is what makes the ground pack. So we'll start to pack that sub-base, make it harder, and it also reacts with it, areas that's like got sugar sand and stuff in it, will cause that to surface. We'll see them areas, we can go in and dig those areas out, and, there it does. Well, you're
I don't know this area of it. You said County Road 14, between 35
right here.
and 39.
Drops
Oh,
down.
okay.
There you
1,
go.
2, 3, 4. Okay, you're right. I was following 14
take
here.
your- Take your
No.
scaling tool, on the scaling one,
This one?
yep. Oh, click there. Go to 39, part is. Yeah, I sure did. 5,500 feet. Just over 5,551 feet.
5,280 in a mile, so
Just over a mile, yep.
a mile and a quarter
Yep, so,
at the most.
Yeah, probably closer to tenths, tenth and a half.
I'm fine with spraying it. Got a bunch of houses right there on it. So, if we're gonna, we plan on converting, that's the conversation you've had about converting it later.
Yeah, next year probably.
And this would help with the process of prepping for it if we decide to go that route.
yeah, we should do at least 2 years of calcium on a road.
I'm fine with it. If you want to spray, whatever, spray solid, as you said.
Okay.
And then we can have a conversation later about if we're actually converted or not.
Okay. What you got, Ben?
That's all I have.
Anything for Ben? Anyone?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I do. 35, that new culvert, looks like they did an excellent job.
Oh, okay, thank you. Let them know.
Yeah, looks like an excellent
You say on 35?
job. Oh, and 35, yeah.
A pretty good sized culvert, wasn't it?
12-footer.
12-footer. Monster.
It's a big pipe. Yeah.
I'm glad they have it in, because when you went down the road, it was very bright with the sun shining against it.
Okay.
Attention, huh?
Yeah, it did.
Move on. Michael, you are up.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Your mic on, Mike. Your Michael. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks.
Yeah, I sent a copy of the proposed. What I'm here to provide is a copy of what's an interlocal agreement for opioid settlement funds. This is a project originally kind of spearheaded by Mr. Watson. But with his passing, we had to get back to moving forward with these funds and finding a way to allocate them outside here in the county and the local communities according to the FSSA guidelines. So what I provided is a document that was a rework from the original document, which was a memorandum of understanding. I met with several members of local communities, provided them the information that I had. I'm in no way spearheading this other than to get the collective going. Provided them with some information. We had a discussion. I think they liked the term interlocal agreement a little better than MOU. I sent all the information that we had on opioid settlement funds, the intended process, over to Mr. Cruz, had him look over it, rework it. He sent it to me, and I've now forwarded it out to all the local community members that were interested. So they can present it to their boards, decide whether their communities would like to get involved, sign this agreement, and come back here. With that, the reason I'm in front of you, one of the things that's a necessity is to go back over with this new agreement and provide it to the county to make sure that the county wants to be involved in this as well. To give you a very short synopsis of the plan, the FSSA requirements that are passed through require to have a board. Community members out there to vote on the funds where they're being spent, to make sure that you have transparency and some expectations for reporting. And right now, this agreement allows the local JRAC committee, which is currently head by Judge Adam Squiller. We have Mr. Hartman is on that, myself, prosecutor's office, public defender, a council member, the sheriff, community corrections, two outside entities that help provide mental health. The director of Bowen Center was on the board. They've actually replaced that director, so we're awaiting the new director to see if they want to be a part of that. But we do have the CEO of Northeastern Center has been involved with our program and has also helped me a great deal. Steve Howell, he's been walking around with me trying to make sure everybody understands what the need for these funds are. The other portion that we have that's a slight change is that the prior agreement allowed for all opioid funds to be returned to the county by anybody who wanted to be involved in that local agreement. This new one only describes returning funds to the county that are restricted. These opioid settlement funds have two sections that are made available, one being restricted and non-restricted. They use the term abatement funds. I don't really know what that means, but that's the restricted portion. And really, those restricted funds are to be used only for opioid treatment, drug and alcohol addiction, education. They have a laundry list of things that you can use it for, but they may not be used for other county or other county or town business. The unrestricted funds, they have the ability to be used for whatever, anything that they want. We decided after an agreement that the county, going back to that JRAC board and allowing the abatement funds to be used there, it just allows the transparency. Plus, it allows that board to make sure that we meet every single one of the obligations when we're spending that opioid fund money on treatment and addiction. There's a couple extra requirements. One says you have to complete a report to make sure that the things you're spending the money on are truly needed and wanted in your community. Last September, myself and some of the members of my office worked through a grant process to complete what was called a sequential intercept mapping over 2 days. We had like 35 members of the community come in, talk about what they do, what they see, what we need, what are some of the gaps. And after 2 days, it came out with a 5-point plan or some of the things that we felt we could do. That covers the requirement of completing that report. So we thought, sticking with the JRAC board, there's some plans to probably add some members, some exterior members. There's some gaps in our board. We'd like to get some schools involved. We'd also like to get emergency management involved. I think the county health nurse, and people like that, who have some other pieces that we don't have on that board, so we could bring them in and find out whether there's some other gaps that we can fill that they may be more aware of. But that's it in a nutshell. So really, I'm here to present that, hoping that the county will move forward as they did previously, join or allow those funds to be joined with the local communities, and then pass over the ability for JRAC to make the recommendations on where those funds are to be spent.
Give a recommendation, who has the final say?
That board, the truth is right now, the plan for that is to provide a grant style opening. So anyone from any one of the communities, whether it's a county-specific fund, whether it's somebody directly from Butler or from Garrett or from St. Joe, wants to come in and says, we believe this program would be great for helping reduce substance use in our county. They would present that grant style. It would go in front of that JRAC board. There would be a vote. At the end, doing it grant style allows you to set up some metrics. That way the people who take or come in and are granted that money can come back and tell you what they've done with it and whether they were successful or not. And then they come back with their financial reporting. But ultimately, right now it would be that the vote of the JRAC board. Now, we would still have to come to the county council to allocate it. you know? So I guess it's kind of twofold.
Okay.
Who would allow it? First, a vote from the, well, I guess first a granting approval from that board, and then secondarily coming to the council for the allocation.
How much money are we talking?
It's quite a bit. I mean, honestly, we're behind. These monies started coming out in 2022. I had taken a look at it. I didn't actually get to the portion to add it all up. But they started coming out in 2022. I mean, the grand total, this allotted payment goes all the way out till 2038. And obviously it reduces as you go. The total, grand total from 2022 until 2038, if I read their paperwork correctly, in total funds, that's not restricted, that's both, is $956,090.76. Payments in 2022 just to the county, $104,000 in restricted funds only, I believe. 2023, 115, 2024, 74. And then obviously in 2025, about 60,000. So as you can see, it reduces quite a bit. But still allows us with a big chunk to make some headway.
And you're asking for just the restricted part of it now?
The agreement, yeah.
Before, when Mike was going around, from what I understand, he was asking for all of it, but you guys have changed it now to the restricted portion of it. It has to go towards this, pretty much.
Correct. And really all it is, or I guess what we're presenting is the ability to work together with the small communities. Some of their payments are limited, right? So they could do some small projects and then may not be able to sustain them as their payments reduce. So when Mike originally came to me and started talking to me about that idea, it does sound great because with a larger pool of funds, you would have the ability to do some long, one of the things you would be able to do bigger projects, but number two, you'd be able to do something a little more long-term. And that's the idea. I mean, when you're talking about addictions and substance abuse treatment, you don't want to do something that lasts 6 months and then disappear. You want to see whether what you are doing actually helps your community and then have the ability to collect some metrics to see if it was effective. To go back to our evidence-based practice, which I think almost every portion of this system is now involved in. You really want to make sure that the money you're spending is working and not just keep doing it year after year just because that's the norm. So when he pitched that idea, it makes an extensive amount of sense. We just looked at it and said, ultimately, the unrestricted funds don't have as many barriers, and obviously I think a lot of those smaller communities have needs. I mean, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to try and spend their unrestricted funds. I'm sure they have things that they would want to do with those unrestricted funds. Made a lot of sense.
That was my only concern, because when I first heard about this last year when it was kind of going around was there was restricted and unrestricted, and I know a lot of the smaller communities have needs they need to put that unrestricted towards. But the restricted, you have to use it for certain things, so I don't see why we wouldn't want to pull it all together. That makes more sense to me, having the restricted part of it. So I'm glad that got changed. That was my only concern. So, do you guys have any more comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
Ready for motion? I'll make a motion
Yes.
to have Bill sign the interlocal agreement between DeKalb County and the JRAC, you said?
Yeah, ultimately, the interlocal agreement is between ourselves and the town. It just names that the voting body ends up being the JRAC. So we have, Auburn, Butler, Garrett, Waterloo, Hamilton, Ashley, St. Joe, and Corona.
Now, what happens if, like, say, I'm just going to say Waterloo and Garrett decide not to join in, you just would have everybody else on there?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we provided it, I provided it to as many as I possibly could, and I understand there are some communities that may have already said no, and they've moved on with spending their funds as they see fit. I did also hear from a smaller community that doesn't really have many funds to spend, but they still want to be involved in the decision-making, so we've opened, I've made an appointment with them, or we'll try to make an appointment with them. We're going to schedule something later, just so that they can be involved and understand what the funds are there for, and then we can make sure that they're on the list to get all the information on the grant, so that they can apply for some of those as well. There's a rule inside these opioid funds. As I said, they go, the payments go all the way out to 2038. There's a certain amount that if the payment isn't over that amount to that entity or that community, it reverts to the county. And so I think originally it was anything under $2,000, and I think they changed that by 2023 or 24 to be under 5,000, something like that. So there's a lot of communities where their first couple payments allow for, enough money to get some programming running, and then after that, 90% of the smaller community stuff reverts to the county.
Pardon me?
I was going to say, I think it's a good program, so that's my motion.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor, excuse me, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
And that was for me to sign.
I will need all of them once you get them, so that I have a full. Okay. Okay.
Anything else, Susan?
No, just the bids.
Bids. Okay.
Well, he'll have multiple ones. Yeah. Yep, that's fine.
Thank you, Michael.
We can do a Sunday Mondays update while we wait till 11.
Yes.
So we have one gentleman that is going to possibly be leaving July 1st. He'll be going to another facility. It's been in the works. He's going down Wednesday through Friday to kind of work out the last of the details. We'll get us the exact date, hopefully in that time period, and then we'll get him transitioned out. So
Be down to
16.
16.
We'll be at 16 at that point. We're still working through a lot of the paperwork, getting a lot of the Medicare, Medicaid stuff back. That was not handled properly the first time, so that's coming in now, and then we've got applications out for places and stuff, so it's the paperwork game right now that we have applications out and paperwork and evaluations, so. We're working through it right now. As Morgan said, we are pretty much fully staffed. We have that one staff position. If they offer it today, then we'll be staffed.
Wow.
So for now, let's knock on wood. So let's make sure but yeah, I mean, things are running smoothish out there right now, so hopefully that keeps going.
Where are we at with getting Dale moved in there?
Still working through the process of that, so hopefully here soon, the residents will be ready to go for him to get moved in.
Okay. All right.
And just the AC had some issues over the weekend, so I'm not sure. Larry was gonna go, I talked to Larry, he was gonna run out there, look at it, so we'll see what that ends up being. Just on the men's side, so.
Okay. All right. Anything else, anyone? Gotta kill some,
Susan and I are still working through the meal issue. It's become more complicated than I ever thought it should be. But we'll get through it, and we'll come up with some kind of a resolution to that problem and hopefully get it solved we have to, one way or another, so everybody knows we're on the same page.
you're talking about the,
Meal,
oh,
Reimbursement.
yeah,
Get a
reimbursement.
decision on that,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
yeah.
I talked to the treasurer, one gentleman for the Baymont is still missing the one payment. And still missing all the fees and all that stuff too. So, no, there's been no change since the last update on that.
There goes to court
July 1st.
July 1st, 9:30, I think.
Yeah, and you're gonna go to that one, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've signed the affidavit, so we're all set to go on that. We'll call in treasurer and who else? Treasurer maybe, no, not you.
I'm sorry, which part are we talking about?
Oh,
Baymont.
the
Baymont.
Belmont
Oh,
hearing. Treasurer comes in for sure. I have to testify, treasurer testify. Oh. Anything else? 5 minutes. Jody, it's up to you. You haven't said hardly a word.
unless we know somebody else is coming, it wasn't a hard and fast time. Like, it wasn't advertised they were opening at a certain time. So we don't have to wait until right at
That's true.
11.
That's probably true.
But I don't know if anybody's coming.
And there was a question, I had a question for Andrew, whether it should be advertised, and he said probably not, since it was, what did he say? Not,
I hit the bathroom real quick.
you need 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's some So those things need to be looked at in renegotiation. In that position, I do. Who are they supposed to? Just a thought.
Are you ready?
Manager position. Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go. Rip them puppies open.
This first one is from American Structure Point from Indianapolis.
I'll put together a packet for Andrew.
Fine,
I'll put together a packet for Andrew.
okay. Fee structure, reimbursables. Total fee is $73,060. There are approximately 4,000 in reimbursable expenses. You see that? Second one is from the Ox Agency in Fort Wayne. Here.
Yep.
The total project cost is $62,000. In parentheses, it says inclusive of all reimbursable expenses. The third and final bid is from Elevatus Architecture. I believe they're out of they're out of Fort Wayne. Very last.
Yeah.
The total bill is $75,000. split between existing building assessment, it's the very last page. Existing building assessment of 44,000 and space needs assessment of 31,000.
First of all, it looks like for travel costs and
Oh, yeah, 67 cents per mile. It would be my recommendation that we table this for 2 weeks so that we have a time to go through these applications.
Yeah, definitely. This isn't a one and done deal.
under advisement, yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I guess I would make that motion.
okay. A second?
Yeah.
Table it. Okay, motion second. Table the space study proposals. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries. Okay, anything else on the agenda?
Well, one other item, talked to both of you about, I would definitely like to have a advisory committee to help look at this. These proposals, I would like to have the county treasurer, and I would like to have the director of maintenance and 2 county council members and myself as the chairman of this committee moving forward, if that would be okay with you gentlemen.
I think that having a committee would be helpful to help, once we get all the information out and come up with what to do going forward with the plan for building maintenance and the future of what we're going to do, have an overall strategy. It's kind of the whole point of why I brought this into play a couple months ago, was to let us know what the overall goal and plan is for the 7 facilities that we are currently managing right now. We have a lot of overlapping bills, and I think we need to have some kind of a strategy going forward. I know, Bill, you have, you want to fix Chris Gallmer's building, the professional, I don't know exactly what you call that building, but Chris Gallmer's building.
Developmental services.
Professional services, but I think we need to have an overall strategy and goal. Talked to Jim here, we've had a lot of conversations. I think having the committee come together to help, when they get this information from these consultants, to come up with some plans, some ideas. I think having Larry involved, having the treasurer involved, I think having some of the council people involved, because ultimately they're gonna have to approve the money to get it taken care of. So I would like to keep that committee. The only caveat is I'm going to be very thoroughly vetting these 3 companies myself, because I want to make sure we're getting the very proper data that we need. To me, we don't have really good data, we can't move forward with going with a plan. We've seen that before in the past. But outside of that, once we get the data, I think having the committee would be very beneficial to making up some of the strategies going forward, to present that to us so we can make decisions on them, because it's going to be a lot of work on the back end of getting everybody together, coming up with strategies, looking at all this stuff. So I would agree with making committee. I would make that motion if Jim didn't make that motion, and then I would be more than happy with having Jim be on that committee. So that's my motion.
I'll second it.
A motion is second, and on the floor, additional comments, and I do have a couple. I'm not real satisfied with the makeup of the committee. I think that one commissioner naming all the members on the committee is not appropriate. It needs to be a commissioner duty to do that. Make sure that committee is not involved with this selection, but it's be after this selection, is that right?
Pardon me?
The committee would be involved only after the selection of a,
I was,
not involved in the selection of these.
they don't have to be. They do not have to be, no.
Or are they or aren't they?
No, we would select it.
Yeah.
We'd have the final say on it. I mean, they can look at it.
So I'll go back to, I'm not satisfied with the makeup of the committee. I just think that should be input from Kellen, and input from myself.
I was only following the procedure when Kellen did Sunny Meadows. He came up with the committee that he thought was pertinent, and I didn't have any input, and I was just following the same procedure that he used. And I agreed with him on his people because he has to work with those people. And,
Has he worked with those people?
pardon me?
Has he worked with those people?
Yeah.
I
Is
believe he
is there
has.
Because
anybody,
that's not what I'm hearing, though, unfortunately. I mean, one committee member say you have not been in touch or not been actually
we keep them
involved in
updated,
that.
we send an update on them on Fridays. And we have to, since I had to leave the last meeting, we have not had another meeting scheduled, which I'm going to work on today. We had someone reach out to me on Friday about setting up another meeting on them.
Okay.
So is there any positions that you would like to add on to this committee? I mean, he's got 2 council people, he's got a treasurer.
Why
that would
the
help with
treasurer?
financing.
Why the treasurer?
I want somebody that is elected from this building. I think that's very important because it's probably the biggest.
Why 2 from the council?
Well, because the council is going to make the final decision, and one I have in mind is a real estate agent, which I believe is be very helpful in this study.
What makes you think that would be helpful?
Well, real estate is what these buildings are.
If we end up trying to sell the buildings and condense down into one, there'd be something, conversation we'd have to have and have that information. If we're gonna sell them, we get an idea of how much how much they would go for, without having to sign with an agent, you know what I mean? So, but I mean,
That's pretty simple to get, though. That's not rocket science. There's a lot of real estate agents and appraisers around that can give us, we have to be appraised for one thing. We can't just sell them. They have to be appraised.
and they'd
So
be
we're
approved
looking
by
at
the
an
commission.
appraiser. Is she an appraiser?
I believe so.
You believe so?
I didn't ask that specific question.
Well, we need to know. I need to know. If that's going to be part of her duty or part of her expertise, she needs to be an appraiser.
Well, I just believe having 2 council people, since they make the ultimate decision, is in the best interest of this study.
Okay. Take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Anything else?
Nothing else?
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.